Hello everyone. Today I'm going to deal with new subject, that is environmental engineering, which is very useful for competitive exams. Uh, Almost in the gate you will get nearly 10 to 15 questions from this subject. Not only in the gate, if you see in the ESET or other competitive exams, like public service commissions, they are asking few questions from this subject. Okay, so let us see. So here you can see the man walking with beautiful leaves, that is green, indicating the greenery. Okay, so now we have to walk with greenery, with sustainable development, that deals with some latest techniques and latest engineering tools. Here we would like to discuss. uh, so here first of all we have to know about the water supply engineering. Environmental science is different, environmental engineering is different. Okay, you see, in the entire globe we have almost more than 70% we have water, but in that particular more than 70% of water or 75% of water, we are not utilizing nearly 80%. We are utilizing only 10 to 15% only. Okay, that is recommended for, that is fit for drinking purpose. Okay, only 5%, I think only 5% we are utilizing that water. First of all, you can see the environmental science, environmental engineering, actually these all are comes under one category. Next one is importance of environmental sanitation, importance and necessity of planned water supplies, few definitions, sources of water, components and layout of water supply schemes, data to be collected for water supply scheme, financing of water supply schemes, pricing of municipal water supplies. So all these things are which we are going to cover in this particular session. Okay, so first of all, what is mean by environment? Environment is nothing but it is a surrounding to us. Whatever the surrounding is there, okay, behind you, that is called as environment. Whatever the surrounding is there, that is environment. Environment is very broad term. It includes all things that is above, below, around us, be it air, water or plant and animal life. So actually it is a broader term which includes the above things. From if you take you as a you are a reference point, so from your above comes under the environment, below comes under the environment, or below the earth surface also comes under the environment. Okay, which includes water, plants, animal life, all these things are comes under the environment. The complex of physical, chemical and biotic factors affecting an organism and ultimately determining its form and survival is known as environment. So environment means technically the complex of physical, chemical, biotic factors affecting an organism and ultimately determining its form and survival is known as an environment. Here you can see in the environment the physical forms, chemical forms and biotic factors all are affecting an organism and ultimately it is determining the form and survival. So you can see here the elephant, animals, okay, some clouds, plants, hills, all these things are surviving, okay, with some physical, chemical and biotic factors, that is called environment. if you take the globe or earth, in the entire earth is comes under the environment. You can see buildings, clouds, air, volcanoes, okay, plants, water, land, all these things comes under the environment. Okay, environmental science versus environmental engineering. Let us see. Environmental science is nothing but environmental science is an interdisciplinary academic field that integrates physical, biological, and information sciences, including ecology, biology, physics, chemistry, geology, mineralogy, oceanology, limnology, soil science, geology, atmospheric science, and geodesy to the study of the environment and the solution of the environment problems. If you see this environmental science, which includes all these studies, example, physical physics, biological, and information science. Information science means which includes ecology, biology, physics, chemistry, geology, mineralogy, oceanology. All these things are which we would cover in this environmental science, which we will study, okay, of the environment, and we have to give the solution for the environmental problems. If you want to give the solution for the environmental problem, you have to study all these above subjects. Next, what is meant by environmental engineering? It is the application science or engineering principles to improve the natural environment, air, water, and land resources, to provide healthy water, air, and land for human habitation and for the organisms, and to remediate pollution sites. Environmental science is different. Environmental science is academic oriented, academic to field oriented. Here in environmental engineering, we are giving the solution with engineering principles. Okay, here in environmental science, we are studying various subjects. Finally, we are giving the conclusion and the solution for that particular problem in environmental science in academic perspective. In environmental engineering, it is a science of engineering principles. We are applying the engineering principles and science to improve the natural environment. Natural environment. So we have to improve the natural thing in the environment, that is like air quality, water quality, next land resources, to provide healthy water. If you increase the water quality, then automatically it will leads to healthy condition. Okay, air, land for human habitation, for other organisms, and to remediate pollution sites. Okay, to control the pollution and to remedy for we are giving the remedy. Okay, so that is environmental engineering. With engineering applications, we are applying the science with engineering principles. Next, importance of water, importance of environmental sanitation, or importance and necessity of planned water supplies. First of all, with the help of this environmental sanitation or planned water supply, if you know you are an environmental engineer, so you have to give the plan for the suitable water supply scheme for the given city or town or village. So for that, it gives a constant reliable water supply for design population. You have to first take the population. For that particular population, you have to design the water supply scheme, that is constant and reliable water supply scheme. You should not overcome the cost. Okay, you never spend more money on that particular projects. It should be constant and reliable water supply scheme. It should be reliable. Next, provides wholesome water for drinking, cooking, bathing, washing, etc., so as to keep disease away, promoting better health. If you see, if you don't use the wholesome water, okay, if you don't treat the water, then automatically which leads to unhealthy conditions, unhygienic conditions. Okay, so which will leads to the public, it makes the public unhappy. Okay, they will suffer with some health problems. Okay, so they can't survive with better living standards, better health conditions. So that is why we are planning suitable water supply scheme. Okay, next, supply water for fountains, gardens, etc., thus helping in maintaining better sanitation and beautification of surrounding, thereby reducing environmental pollution. If you take the urban area or cities, towns, those are those are strictly uh, polluting the environment. Why? Because all the cities and towns are majorly occupied with concrete jungles. Okay, so with the concrete jungle, the heat of radiation will become more. Okay, yeah, which will leads to the global warming. Next, in the urban area, mostly they are using the automobiles and industries. Okay, so all these factors are involving in global warming. To reduce the global warming, or to reduce the air quality, to improve the air quality, to minimize the air pollution, we have to plant the trees and we have to encourage the parks. Okay, so and gardening. So if you want to encourage the parks and gardening in the particular city or urban area, you have to supply the water. So if you never plan the water supply scheme for that particular city, how do you supply the water, or how do you give the water for the particular parks or gardening or some recreational purpose? Okay, so you have to give, whenever you are planning for good water supply scheme, then only you will supply proper water towards the better sanitation and beautification of surrounding. Okay, you know, in the economics also we have behavioral economics. That is also one branch in economic subject. What is mean by this behavioral economics? If you make the city some beautification, okay, some healthy conditions, if you provide healthy conditions to the city and beautification, and if you provide a good infrastructure in that particular city, then automatically the crime rate will be decrease. Actually, the economists studied on that particular city like New York City, then only they were decided. This also wow, the behavioral economics also giving the better improvement to minimize the crime rate. Okay, so in that part we have to beautify the city with water. Okay, how do you beautify that city with water? You have to plant trees and samples. Okay, samplings in that particular city. Then you have to develop the parks, gardening, landscaping. You have to supply the water for particular that all these things, then city automatically will become beautified. Okay, next, ensures safety against fire by providing sufficient quantity of water to extinguish it. So you should ensure the safety against fire. Already if you see the urban area, the in some particular areas, restaurants and hotels, like some cinema theaters, they are very dangerous, and they are not following some safety measures. So if you provide some sufficient water to ensure the safety against fire, then we can minimize the fire accidents in that particular town or city or in that village areas. Okay, then attracts industries, thus helping in industrialization and modernization of the society, consequently reducing unemployment and ensure better living standards. Okay, so if you suppose to give the good water supply scheme, you are planning for good water supply scheme, then you are providing one resource to establish one industry in that particular area, then automatically it will gives that industry will leads to the employment. How they will recruit some people in that particular industry to work for that industry, then automatically that will leads to the employment. Okay, so we can minimize the unemployment also, consequently reducing the unemployment and ensure better living standards. So if everybody get the job, then automatically those families and those persons living standards will be become some develop. Okay, so that is the main cause. Next, help in promoting wealth and welfare for entire humanity as whole. So if is there any water supply scheme is very good and established, then automatically in that particular city or town or village, it will promoting the wealth and welfare of the entire humanity as a whole. If you see, this is the water. Pure water means H2O. Pure water means H2O. This is the pure water. Will you see ever this? Have you seen ever this H2O? No. So you can't see anywhere in these resources pure H2O. Okay. Pure and wholesome water means it is that water which contains only 2 parts of hydrogen and 1 part of oxygen. Okay, 2 parts of hydrogen and 1 part of oxygen. This is nothing but pure water. Now if you are taking and buying one Kinley water bottle or some Bisleri water bottle, all those are not pure water. Okay, what is mean by wholesome water? Wholesome water means water which is fit to use for drinking, cooking, washing without any potential danger to human health. If you see some particular areas like UP, Bihar, some Orissa areas, they will use the pond water to wash the clothes and cooking and for drinking. They will use that some ponds and lakes like a khichdi. Okay, that is not a wholesome water. If it is, why it is not fit for all these things? It will be contaminated, and already it was contaminated. So it has been contaminated with some bacteria, fungal infection, fungus and some virus, all those things. Okay, so if you take the wholesome water, it is free from pathogenic bacteria and virus. Okay, then it will be never, it is never never create a problem in the particular human being. Okay, that is wholesome water. Water which is fit to use for drinking purpose, cooking purpose, washing purpose without any potential danger to human health. That is wholesome water. It will neither contain any chemicals or impurities in excess of which they may harm human body, nor any harmful bacteria chemically impure. Okay, which is never harmful to the human body. It will neither contain any chemical or impurities in excess. Okay, it is containing within allowable limits. If it exceeds, never it becomes a wholesome water. Okay, a water which is safe due to absence of harmful bacteria may or may not be wholesome. A water which is safe when the absence of harmful bacteria may or may not be wholesome. Okay, but wholesome water will always be safe. So if you take the wholesome water, always it will be safe. It is free from pathogenic bacteria or harmful virus or some harmful things. Okay, now so this is called as wholesome water. If you take the palatable water and potable water, palatable water means the water which is tasteful for drinking and aesthetically pure is known as palatable water. The water which is tasteful okay, for drinking purpose, that is potable water. Aesthetically pure. If you take the Kinley water bottle, Bisleri water bottle, like some near, all these things are aesthetically pure and tasteful. Known is potable water. That is potable water. If you take the RO system in your particular college or in your institutions or in your houses, that is potable water. The water which is suitable for public water supply is known as potable water. If you see the municipal water supply scheme, that is very much fit for drinking purpose. Why? Because that is potable water. It has characteristics of both wholesome and potable water. It contains wholesome water properties characteristics and potable water characteristics. So that is nothing but potable water. It is perfectly all right, okay, that for drinking purpose. In literal terms, potable water is safe to drink, whereas potable water is water at a desirable temperature, that is free from objectionable taste, odor, colors and turbidity. Those are physical characteristics of the water. So it is free from objectionable physical characteristics, that is nothing but potable water, okay. But of course in few areas they are not maintaining some standards, okay, while they are purifying the water. You can see the water some different taste, and you can see the odor, color, turbidity, okay, all these things you can see, but that is not fit for drinking purpose, okay. Whatever the water is objectionable for taste, odor, color and turbidity, that is free from objectionable, that is nothing but potable water. Next one is, if you take the water that is safe to drink but smells like rotten eggs is potable. Water is that water that is safe to drink and smells like nothing, water is odorless, is potable water, okay. If you take the potable water, now just before I said you, okay, few municipalities or few areas you can see some smell, okay, that is odor, like just like rotten eggs, that is a potable water. But if you take the potable water, it never gives a smell. If you smell the water, it never gives any different types of smell, okay, that is potable water. If you take the sources of water, we have two kinds of sources to collect the water. First one is surface sources, second one is subsurface sources. This is surface sources, second one is subsurface sources. If you take the surface sources, those are rivers, lakes, ponds, streams, oceans, canals, okay, all these things are comes under surface sources, okay, clear. Surface sources are which are having on the earth surface, those are you can see directly by naked eye, okay, that is river, lake, pond, stream, ocean, canals. If you take the subsurface sources, in earlier days the people were used these subsurface sources like wells, tube wells. Now we are using the tube wells, infiltration galleries, infiltration wells, springs. Later we will discuss all those things, okay. Later on we will discuss all those things in the next chapter. Now if you take the subsurface sources, that is comes under what are the things comes under this subsurface sources? Wells. In the rural areas they were used these wells. Next, tube wells. Now latest in after the modernization and industrialization, we are using the tube wells instead of wells. Infiltration galleries, infiltration wells, springs, so all these things are comes under subsurface sources. Earth water distribution, if you see the oceans have 97.4% water. Oceans 97.4% of water. But fresh water is, this is salt water, not fit for drinking. Okay, if you take the ice caps, glacier groundwater, glaciers and groundwater, this is 2.59%. This is fresh water. If you take the lakes, rivers, atmosphere, soil moisture, all these things are 0.014%. So if you take these two things as a fresh water, but ocean water is not fit for drinking, this is not a fresh water. Okay, but majority of the water was occupied by oceans. Clear? If you take the earth water distribution, all the water on earth, 97% of the water is saline water. This is occupied by oceans. 97% of the water is occupied by oceans. This is saline water. If you take the fresh water, that is only 3%. That is 3% fresh water is there. Even though if you are getting little amount of the fresh water, we are polluting that 3% of the water. Okay, though we have less amount of fresh water, but we are polluting that less amount of water. Finally, after few generations, it will leads to create a big problem. Okay, so if you take the in that particular 3%, groundwater is 30.1%. This is pure water. If you take this 3%, then in that particular 3%, groundwater is 30.1%. Next, ice caps and glaciers are 68.7%. Ice caps and glaciers are 68.7%. If you take the Arctic, Antarctic, okay, all those things are glaciers and ice caps. Clear? Now, if you take the surface water, that is 0.3%. Surface water is nothing but rivers, streams, okay, canals, all those things are surface water. Lakes are 87%. If you take the earth water distribution, lakes are 87%. We have large lakes like Pulicat, Sambar Lake, Chilka Lake. Okay, if you take the in your villages also, we have small kinds of lakes. Those are 87%. If you take the rivers, that is 2%. Rivers earth water is surface water is 2%. Swamps are 11%. Okay, these are available at particular in jungle area. Those are swamps, 11%. Okay, if you see the analytical point of view, you can identify this kind of distribution of water on the earth. Data to be collected for water supply scheme. So if you want to plan for good water supply scheme, you have to collect some data. Okay, what is that particular data? First one, source of raw water. From where you have to collect the water, like river or wells or lakes, all those things, those are comes under source of raw water. Quantity of water. So how much quantity of water required for design the water supply scheme? How do you calculate that? How much quantity of water? Based on population. You have to first calculate the population, then water demand. Water demand means it consists of fire demand. Okay, next domestic demand, recreational demand, then some fire demand. All these things are comes under water demand. Next, design period. Design period means if you want to design a water supply scheme, it should survive until at least 20 to 25 years. That is design period. Okay, quality of water. Depends upon quality of water, you have to decide the water supply scheme and methodology. Next, survey data. That is topographical maps, intake, rising, main water treatment plant location. Okay, so all these things are comes under data to be collected of for water supply scheme, where you have to establish or construct a water treatment plant, and for that particular point of view you have to take the topographical maps, and finally you have to decide how do you lay the pipeline system and distribution network. All those things you should consider. Next, plan or map of a city. You should take the plan or map of a city. Acquisition of land and compensations to be paid to the landowners and legal complications. If you take the Mission Bhagirath project, they were acquiring the land. Land acquisition is going on. They will compensate for that particular land, especially the government, towards the particular landowners. And if is there any legal complications are there, if is there any discrepancies and disturbances are there, we have to consider all those things. Okay, almost now the Orissa government and Madhya Pradesh government, those are implementing and designing these water supply schemes, just like our Mission Bhagirath. Next one is existing water supply position of the town and possibility of its expansion. If is there any existed water supply scheme is there, that is only using for 1 lakh people. Now the population of the city was increased, approximately it become 5 lakhs. Now how do you plan that existing water supply scheme for that particular 5 lakh people? So that is also important thing. Okay, next, surface sources of water or intake works. Intake work is nothing but intake is nothing but we have different types of intakes: lake intake, well intake, river intake, canal intake. So we have different types of intakes. What is meant by intake? Whatever the structure which is constructed at the source of the water to collect the water. Okay, that structure is nothing but intake. Okay, in that particular intake you have to construct the pumping system also. You have to collect the water and pump the water towards the treatment plant. That is intake works. Next, you can see these intake works at especially at river areas like lakes. Okay, those are the intake works. Next one is pumping. How do you pump? How much of a capacity of the pumps which will be used to pump that particular water? Next, raising main. How much it should be raised? Water treatment plant, where you have to provide this water treatment plant, what kind of water treatment plant will be suggested, okay, for that particular water. Next, elevated reservoir. You should construct after the treatment plant construction, after the treatment of water, you have to supply the water in the particular elevated service reservoir. Okay, if is there any reduced levels are varying, there is no possibility to send the water with gravity, then you have to construct a elevated reservoir. You have to pump the water inside the water elevated reservoir water tank. Then with gravity from higher elevation to lower elevation, the water will be transferred. Okay, it should be passed through some pipes. Next, after that you have to design the distribution system. How do you distribute that water? After that elevated service reservoir, it will be distributed through pipes to the city. So the city pattern may vary from place to place and from state to state. Okay, depends upon that past history and present condition. Okay, so we have to decide the distribution system. So all these things comes under environmental engineering 1, that is water supply scheme. Okay, if you take the layout of water supply scheme, this is important thing. Layout of water supply scheme, first one is open well. Here I am giving the one example. Here it may open well or river or stream or canal or lake. Okay, whatever it may be, that is that will become resource of the water. Resource. It may be river also. This is particularly for village. Okay, from if you take the one village, this is open well or some lake or some river. From here you have to supply the water to the pump house. From pump house, okay, elevated, it is supplying to the elevated supply reservoir. From elevated supply reservoir to the distribution. So these are the roads and patterns. These are the pipelines. Okay, these are the pipelines. You have to lay like this in that particular village. Then it should transfer the water like this, from here to here, here to here. Like this you have to distribute the water for the village. If you take the city water supply scheme, first you have to collect the water at source. That may be river, lake, pond, canal, whatever it is. That is source. From source to intake well. Okay, it is the collecting tank or collecting structure. Wherever we are collecting the water, that is intake well. From here we will supply the jack well. Okay, here it is it collects the water and distributes the water, jack well. From here you have to supply towards the flash mixer. Okay, here what you have to do, you have to add some coagulating agents like alum, all those things. Then the water automatically in that particular chamber, coagulation occurs, that is fluctuation occurs. Fluctuation means if is there any suspended particles in that particular water whenever you are collecting. Okay, all those things are comes under joined together and it will become as a flux. That flux specific gravity will be increased, then automatically with high specific gravity, it will be fall down at the bottom of the tank. Only pure water will remains on the top of the flux. Okay, that is fluctuation or coagulation process. From here you have to supply to the clarifier. In that clarifier we have two types of clarifier, primary clarifier and secondary clarifier. Depends upon the demand and situation, we have to decide that clarifier. Okay, all these things we will discuss in the later. From this for particular clarifier we have to send to the rapid sand filter. We have different types of sand filters. First of all we can see the slow sand filter. Later on the advanced version is rapid sand filter. You can see the pressure filters also. Okay, but here I am showing only rapid sand filter. Then after filtration process, this is only for filtration. Okay, that is rapid sand filter only for filtration. Next you have to take the chlorination. Chlorination is for only disinfection purpose. If here you are collecting and removing the large size of particles or suspended particles. If is there any presence of minor suspended and colloidal particles, those are removing at rapid sand filter or sand filters. Now you are physical impurities removing with coagulation and sand filters. Now if you see the disinfection, if you see the some bacteria, okay, that bacteria we have to remove that in that particular water. That is especially harmful pathogenic bacteria. The removal or killing process of the pathogenic bacteria is nothing but disinfection. So in that for the disinfection process we have to add the chlorine to the water. That is nothing but chlorination. Okay, after this chlorination you have to send the water to the filter water tank. Again you have to filter the water tank in that particular tank. Then you should send that particular water into elevated service reservoir. Then finally you have to send to the distribution system. This is the town. Okay, we have different types of distribution systems. Later on we will discuss all those things. Okay, water will be discussed distribute like this. Okay, so these are the sub main pipes. This is main pipe. Okay, these all are main pipes. In that particular grid or particular city, we have to connect the sub mains and branch pipes. These all are branch pipes to supply the water to the local people. Okay, so this is layout of water supply scheme. Clear? Financing of water supply scheme. So how do you finance the water supply scheme? Based on huge amount of money is required for planning, design and execution. If you take the Mission Bhagirath project, they were constructing like with nearly 4,000 crore project or 5,000 crore project. Okay, huge amounts of money is required for planning, designing and execution. The capital investment as well as RMO charges along with the depreciation and interest charges must be returned by the beneficiaries in the form of revenue returns from the sale of water. If you take the industry, you have to supply the water to the industry, then automatically industrialists or some business magnates, they will pay towards the municipality or concerned authority for utilizing that particular water. Then automatically if you see the residential homes, they will pay for utilizing the water, municipal water, in terms of taxes. Okay, so finally you will get the revenue from those things. In developing countries like India, there is problem of availability of funds. Like in our country, we are developing country, we have lack of fund availability. Okay, so fund availability is no more is there, so automatically we cannot supply the pure water, we cannot improve the hygienic conditions and healthy conditions, we cannot do the more good living standard in the human being. Okay, in that particular country, India has been able to cover about 84% of its urban population, which is about 30% of the total population. In the total population, we have 30% of total population, we are covering 84% of urban population. Okay, next if you see the pricing of municipal water supplies. Pricing of municipal water supplies in poor and developing countries, differential rates for various uses is permissible. Rates for domestic uses is less than, rates for commercial uses is less than rates for industrial uses. If you see the industrial uses, they will charge more amount of money. Okay, industrialists should pay more money, then commercial users pay little bit less amount compare with industrialists, then finally domestic users will give less amount of money. Okay, this is scenario is going on. Next, when rates are heavily underpriced, the consumer waste water by liters. Rates are heavily underpriced. If it is rates are very less, then automatically the people will misuse that particular water. Okay, if you give the some importance and put some amount greater amount on particular that water supply scheme, then automatically the people will give respect and they will scare on that particular pricing, then they will use little amount of water and no wastage is happening. Next, water rates in India for municipal supplies are absolutely low. Okay, compared to global standards. If you see the in India, compare with global standards, we have less charges, the government is charging less amount. With prevailing rates, recovery of neither depreciation and interest cost in capital nor operation and maintenance charges is possible. With prevailing rates, recovery, depreciation or interest cost on capital nor operation maintenance charges is possible. Okay, if you see the pricing of municipal water supplies for full recovery, average water tariff in dollars per kiloliters, that is 0.03 India. This is the less amount in India we are charging. Next one is Australia, followed by USA, UK. If you see the Germany, they are charging $1.91 per kiloliter. Okay, the existing rates states of India vary from 0.01 rupees per kiloliter to rupees 3.66 per kiloliter. That is especially in Mizoram, rupees 10 rupees per kiloliter. For industries, average rupees 12 rupees per kiloliter. Okay, that is the scenario going on in our country. Okay, thank you.